All right, guys, this is Lonnie Wilborn with Renowned FX here. This is my weekly analysis. So, what I'll be doing every Sunday, the market is already open, but for the most part, what I'll be doing is going through these different currency pairs along the right hand side, looking for setups that will be coming up during the week. Now, I know there's a lot of pairs that I'm looking at, but it's just because the strategy that I do and my strategy, I'm placing trades only at certain areas. So, I only really focus on currency pairs when they're in my pretty much price action zones in areas that I want to place trades. So, and again, these zones are created or they come from the higher time frame, which is generally the daily or the weekly chart. So, I'll start off with AUD JPY as my number one. So, what I like to do is I like to start from the daily time frame, okay, kind of see what's going on. And my zones, these gray areas that's on my chart, these are the areas that I like to place trades from. It's where I get the highest or best risk to reward ratio. So if the pairs aren't in those zones yet, I kind of skip over them. I still look at them or glance at them, but for the most part, I skip over them. So here, as you see, AUD JPY on the daily chart is in between the zones. So it's not really a trade that I want to do right at this time. I'll go to AUD NZD. This again is right in between the zone. I'll zoom in to the 4 hour so you can see I placed a trade here. It was a losing trade. So you can kind of see what I was looking at when I placed the trade. So let me zoom out here. So when I placed this trade, I think I saw a double top forming on a 4 hour chart at one of these zones. Now, what you'll notice by me doing my analysis is I don't always place the trades exactly on the zone or on the area. Sometimes price action comes or happens right above or right below, So I've learned that as long as it's within that range or somewhere close to the zone, it's a pretty good area to place a trade from. So this was a trade that I placed. I was expecting to go long, so it broke this trend line right here. And again, this is a trend line from a higher time frame. I'll pull out to the daily, so you'll see that price was respecting this trend line for a little while. So it was respecting this thing in a downtrend, and it had broke it. So I was expecting price to continue up. That's not what happened. It pushed down before it went up. But if you guys recall, last week was a crazy week in which there was a flash crash, if that's what you want to call, and a lot of currencies moved over 500 pips in one day. As you can see, that I probably had the analysis right. But if you look in this area, this big candle right here, this is 1 day candle. So this AUD NZD dropped all the way. Look at this. Look at this drop. So it was a crash. I don't know what was the catalyst or whatever happened, but that's probably why I lost that trade because it ended up after that day, after it knocked tons of people out of the market, it moved in a direction that I expected it to go. So I was right on the direction, just probably wrong on the timing, and it happens. You'll have winning trades, you'll have losing trades. It's part of the game. The goal is to either win more than you lose or win bigger than you lose. So the goal is if you do happen to lose more trades than you win, you want your winners to outweigh your losers or be bigger than your winners. I usually shoot for a 1-to-1 at least risk to reward ratio. Sometimes I get a lot more, but at least 1-to-1 of every trade. So again, this is a trade that I placed. You can see it. The market just did some crazy stuff last week, and it was just out of my control. But eventually, it moved in a direction I intended it. So it happens. So right as you see, this is right in between these zones here. So not really going to focus on this. I'll keep an eye on it for this week, but not anything as of right now to trade. AUD USD. So we can zoom in here, so I can stretch this zone out right here. So let me move this zone out. Open the chart up a little bit. So see, and again, we're in between this zone here, so no real trades at the moment. But I would be looking to go. Let me see. I think I'll be looking to go long. Yeah, we're under the 50-day moving average. So this is a 50-day moving average. I love this moving average because it definitely acts as support and resistance, as you can see. If you look over here, kind of look back, Price came down, bounced off the moving average, went back up, came down, bounced off the moving average, and went back up, and then when it broke under the moving average, came back, retest that moving average, and this strong was support, now resistance line, and pushed down, came back up, pushed down more. So we're approaching that moving average. There's a great chance that we can possibly break it. Let me move out to the weekly chart to see what's going on. And as you see on this weekly chart, we can see a double bottom on the weekly. Okay, so we have a bottom right here. Price pushed up several weeks, came back down. Second bottom right here. And we have a bullish engulfing candle on a weekly. So that means a lot of weekly momentum going into this price right here. And then you see this crazy wick from last week. It was intense. So we might be continuing up, more than likely. Double bottoms are reversal patterns. So there's a good chance that we will continue up, at least move up towards this 50 period moving average right here. So, see, zoom out. Let me go back down to the daily. Okay, so on the daily, we broke this level right here, which is a strong, if we look back, my gray area, it's a strong area of market structure, meaning that once it breaks it, it's likely to retest, come back and retest it, and continue up. But we also have to be mindful of this 50 period moving average, which acts as support and resistance. But I'm pretty bullish on this pair, possibly. Again, we're right in between my zones, so I won't place any trades. CAD JPY, let's go back out to the daily. I'm big on higher time frames and using the higher time frames to determine where the market is going. So as you can see, this is a trade from last week that I placed. We were under the 50 period moving average. We came down, broke this level right here, came back up and retested. If I go to a smaller time frame, you can see the retest a lot better. And it was a slight retest. It wasn't a strong one, but broke it, came back up. This wick came up, touched it slightly, and price pushed down, all the way down, pretty strong. Okay, and we continue down. I think I stayed in this trade for a little while. I think I stayed in this trade till this support line right here, and it broke. I probably could have rode it all the way down because I had the direction right, but I think I cut it and just took some profits. Okay, so again, if we go back here, again, that last week, that was a crazy down 500 pips. It was a crazy move. A lot of people didn't expect it. A lot of people got knocked out of the market. I got knocked out of one position, but definitely some pretty good setups for this week. So nothing extremely attractive here. However, I am looking for this to maybe continue up. Possibly. Yep. And then as you see, on the 4 hour, we just crossed above this 50 period. Now, when you're on a 4 hour, it's not 50 days, it's 50 period. So it goes off whatever time frame you have on your chart. Okay, so the last 50 4-hour candles, this averages above. And again, once what you notice is if we go back, besides when it's consolidating, but when the price breaks above or below that moving average, it tends to continue in that direction. Okay, besides this is consolidation in this area. Its price is just moving sideways, bouncing around. But when we break down, we definitely blast through a couple resistance levels. So short term, I have a bullish bias. You have this strong level right here that's on the daily. And what I'll do, just so we can see this a little better, I like using these gray areas right here. And I'll put another one right here because it's another. And I would zoom out usually and try to get as much price action with any zones that I could. But that should be enough for right there. So you kind of see it just makes my charts very clean, very minimal indicators, just a couple simple things. So again, I'm expecting this 50 period to act as support as well as this strong level right here, and it may possibly push this market up. Again, it's too early to tell. I would be looking for a price action signal such as a bullish engulfing candle, or a double bottom on the smaller time frame, maybe the hourly. But this is some strong momentum, so I may just leave that alone for right now. CHF, JPY. We are in. Come back out to the daily. Again, that's where I like starting my analysis at. So strong bearish candle for the daily. We came down, rejected, bounced back up, and we're right below this resistance level right here. If I were to zoom out to this level right here, you can see that in the past it acted as support for price. If you go back further, it acted as resistance. So we're looking at this line right here. This older trade I placed right here. It was a winning trade. Came down, touched, and then went against me, but it already took profit. So come down here. Looking at this, I don't see any setups right away, but we are under the 50-day moving average on a daily chart. So I have a bearish. Yeah, I definitely have a bearish. I'm pretty bearish on CHF JPY, especially in a weekly chart. As you can see, this level of structure right here was broken. The week closed down here. And another indicator I liked is this. This is a custom indicator on TradingView. It's a momentum oscillator. So kind of tells me when momentum is shifting and turning. And right here, what I look for in a downtrend is a lot of space in between the red dots and the green line. Okay, that shows us a lot of momentum and pressure to the downside. So again, this is a weekly chart. A lot of price action within this chart. So I like, I keep an eye on a weekly, but for the most part, I focus on a daily, 4 hour and 1 hour. Most of my trades are placed on a 4 hour or the daily. We're primarily most of them traded on the 4 hour. So no price action or anything that I see right here that will make me want to place a trade. What I would be looking for, we are in a downtrend. We're under the 50 period on a daily. We're under the 50 period on the 4 hour. So I may be looking for a bearish engulfing candle. Right now, again, it is Sunday, not a lot of volume and stuff going in, so I may wait. Just keep an eye on this, and check back on it. But I don't see any trades as of right now. So let's go to Euro AUD. Okay, what's going on Euro? So again, this last week, you see this crazy massive wick. Last week, some crazy things happened in the market in which it was out of all of our control. You were either on the right side or you were on the wrong side, or you just got whiplashed and knocked out of the market. So on a daily, Euro AUD was in an uptrend. As you can see, my trend line right here, as well as the fact that we were above the 50-day moving average. So what I noticed is after this crazy wick, we came down and closed below this trend line. And so in other words, there was a trend line break. Now I didn't place this trade, but it was something I was definitely keeping my eye on. I just wanted to kind of stay out of the market too much because I didn't know if something like this was going to happen again. This was a crazy wick. It was a lot of volatility in the market, and I didn't want too many parts of it. So let's drop down to the 4 hours. You can kind of see that trend line break a little better. So you drop down to the 4 hour. You can definitely see this trend line break a lot better. So right here it broke. We came back up, retested, and we came down and shot down very hard. Again, we closed under that 50 period moving average, which, usually is a pretty good support and resistance tool. And we're sitting here bouncing. We're sitting right at this support line. As you see, these lines are powerful. They're drawn on a daily chart. So on a 4 hour, you definitely will see them be respected pretty often. And you see it's this right here. This candle is turning around. Not sure if I want to place a trade here, but I think this might be just a small temporary bounce. I don't think I would go bullish on this, even though we're right above this support line. I don't think I would go bullish just because of this candle right here. This is a very strong, it's a lot of momentum in this bearish candle right here. So my guess would be that we continue down. We're eventually more likely going to break this level of support. I'm not sure when, but I would expect. Now, it's a possibility we can bounce, but with the candle this strong, closing down here, closing below this level of support at one time, shows that structure was just broken, and it's a great chance we're going to continue down, especially with a candle this big. Let's go out to the weekly real quick and see what the weekly looks like. And yeah, so on the weekly, what you may see is kind of looks like a double top. So we have, let me get my tool out. We have a top right there. This is considered a top right here for a double top. And we also have a strong bearish candle. And this means that it shows an entire week of selling. Okay. And that's a strong sign. So 9 times out of 10, with a bearish candle like that, we're going to continue down. We may bounce around a little bit, but it's a great chance we're going to break and continue down. Don't know until I see a price action signal or something that will make me want to trade it. But for right now, I'm pretty bearish on Euro AUD. So I'll mark this. I'll keep an eye on it because I'll look for that break, and maybe I will look for the break of this daily 50 period, and I will look to continue down for a continuation trade. So Euro CAD. Here is another trade I had placed. This was a losing trade, as you can see, off the daily. So what I was playing is, if I scroll out, you can see this level around here. In the past, price tend to bounce pretty strong from this level right here. We came, bounced, price pushed down pretty hard, came up, broke it, made another higher high, higher low, pushed up for a higher high. What I saw here on a daily that made me want to place this trade was we come up to this level, put in a strong bearish engulfing candle, meaning that I would expect it price to come down, at least down to this level down here. It came down a little bit. It also, on a smaller time frame, broke this trend line. Okay, so I definitely expected it to continue down, at least come down to this area. But as you can see, it turned around, pushed up further, and then eventually went down. So all in all, I had the direction right, just too early to the trade. And again, this last week, this was the week of those crazy moves. So I think a lot of trades were messed up because of those crazy, intense moves that the market made out of nowhere. Because if it wasn't for that, I think we probably would have continued down just like it did. So, but it pushed up more, crossed down, eventually broke that line, and a lot of sellers came in and pushed the market down. So what I'm seeing now and what I think we're going to do, let me move my lines real quick. Again, as I mentioned, I love the 50 period. So as you see, a lot of selling pressure. We closed with no wick on the bottom of this candle. Okay, that means that the day ended strong downwards momentum. Not to mention, we closed under the 50-day moving average. So what we're seeing right now, Sunday, the market just opened. The market tends to move in the opposite direction that it should go. Now, what we can see is a come up here, and we can see a retest of this level right here before it pushes down. Now, I don't think it's going to get up there to retest. I think this 50-day moving average is going to hold pretty strong. It may wick up a little bit, but it's more likely going to push down, especially after all this selling pressure right here. We broke this level, which is a very strong level. As you can see on a daily chart, I like placing my levels on a daily chart. As you can see, for something to turn price around for a complete day, there has to be a lot of orders placed right there. So I love this daily chart area. So again, I'm on EuroCAD. I'm more bearish than bullish. Let's drop down to the 4-hour. You can see a little more of what's going on. So 4-hour, you see we broke this level. We're under the 50 period moving average. So we can see this come up a little bit, but all in all, I see this getting down here. This would be my next target. Not in this trade, or not going to place it. I will never place a trade right here just because to do a safe stop, this stop will be too big. So you see 124 pips to try to shoot for 113 or so. So ideally, for me to place this trade, I would want to see the market come up here, somewhere in this region. I place my trade based on this area right here. That gives me a better risk to reward. So if I were to place a trade from right here, I would put my stop loss maybe 50 or so pips up here, and I would shoot for 150 pips, at least 1-to-1. So I would shoot for at least this bottom right here, so 75. So risk being 50. My first target would be 75 or somewhere in that region. And then my second target would be down here at this area. And as you see on a 4-hour, we broke this strong level right here. We broke this daily level. So it's a great chance we're going to pull down here, target here. We may bounce right here. So, but I wouldn't place this trade again because we're in the middle. If I wanted to be aggressive, I possibly would, depending if it showed a price action signal to me. But without that, I'm just going to stay on the sidelines and try to wait for a better trade setup. So Euro GBP. So what's going on here? So as you can see, I placed a trade last week on a 4-hour, is a good one. Strong push down. I placed a trade right here. We came up against me a little bit before pushing down and hitting my target for a 1-to-1. Then it pushed back up against me. So we started moving in a range, a pretty strong range. If I go out to the daily chart, this is a very strong range. Okay, so moving sideways in the range, and what's interesting is we broke this level right here and closed below this level. So we broke below this level, not to mention we broke below this range. What we're doing now is coming up to retest that level, and we're also right at the 50-day moving average. Okay, here if I look down at the oscillator I like using, strong momentum to the downside, a lot of space between the red dots and the green line, which shows a lot of momentum. So my guess will be that we may move around here for a little bit, but all in all, I'm bearish on Euro GBP. We probably got some news and stuff like that coming up, but this is a strong bearish candle. Let's jump out to the weekly real quick and see what the weekly time frame looks like. Again, this kind of looks like a double top. So we have a top right here, and our other top is right here. We never closed above this top. We just wicked above it. So I'll say a top right there, a double top, plus a bearish engulfing candle. So this means for an entire week, there was a lot of selling pressure. So again, that gives me more confirmation that we are more likely to continue down, at least for a little bit, than to go up. Okay, so the weekly is showing me a bearish move. Daily is showing me bearish. We broke out of this range right here. We're coming up to retest, and it's looking like we're going to drop down to the 4-hour to see what's going on. Again, this 4-hour can be that retest. We broke below this right here, closed below this strong area right here. So again, a retest is common. So I think we would probably be continuing down. So I'm definitely going to flag this one and keep an eye on it for a price action signal. Maybe on a smaller time frame, a double top, or something showing that we're going to head down. Wouldn't get in right now, it's too early, but as soon as I see something that shows a reverse, and we're right in my zone, so I'm looking to place a trade somewhere right here. So if I see any price action signal, bearish engulfing on a 4-hour, pushing down, I'll place my trade. Let's say it's right here. Stop maybe somewhere up in this area, 30 pips or so, and I'm going to shoot for my first target of 30 pips right here. If we look left, it's a little consolidation right there, so it's a great chance that it may at least make it here. And then my next target will be down here, so we're about 53 pips. Okay, so you can see this trade I placed last week. Same thing I saw on a 4-hour, a very bearish engulfing candle, came down, placed a trade right here. Let me see on the higher time frame what I was looking at exactly. I took notes, so I know exactly what I was looking at. Yeah, I placed it right after this. At the close of this daily candle, I placed a trade. We gapped down that next day. Price opened right here, pushed up against me. You know, and that's why I like wider stops. My stop loss was kind of far out the way. My stop loss was above this resistance level. As you see, its price turned around right at this level right here. It acted as resistance. So I put my stop fairly high, so I'm out of the way. Price pushed up against it and came back down and pushed down hard, and I hit targets before coming back up, pushing up again. So that's the last trade. And again, we're down here. We broke this level. So I would expect this to keep going down. But again, I don't see anything right now to make me want to get in this trade, but I'm definitely watching it. So I flagged this here, and I'll be watching close this week. Euro USD, nothing here. We are consolidating. This is messy. I will not place a trade here. Weekly, it looks like we might be breaking out to the upside, but again, we're just in this middle range consolidating, which is not attractive at all. So I would stay away from trading Euro USD right now. GBP AUD. Let's go out to the daily. So again, crazy last week, crazy wick, a lot of pips right here. And then price pushed up hard, wick pushed down, strong momentum to the downside. Yeah, we're approaching this 50-day moving average. Momentum is pointing down pretty strong with a lot of space in between the red dots and the green line. Drop down to the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, we broke below this zone right here. We also are under the 50-period moving average. And we're right in the middle, so I don't think I would place a trade right here. And this kind of scares me right here, how price bounced from this area. Right there, that could be a double bottom. It also kind of got congested back here on the 4-hour. So it's a couple things I don't really like placing a trade from right here. I will say if we were to come back up and retest and show signs of turning over, I may go short. But as of right now, it's a decent amount of bounces right here. Let me show you this line right here. Drop back down to the 4-hour. So these are daily bounces. Let me see what it looks like on the 4-hour. And we're right in that area. So I would be careful placing a trade right here. For the most part. So I don't really like that one. Let me see what the weekly looks like. Weekly could be a strong bearish candle. So we could be going down. So on a weekly, I mean, it looks like we'll be maybe coming back towards this moving average, reverting back to that moving average. And it looks like, I mean, we could be pushing down. This is a strong momentum to the downside here. But I think I would just stay on the sidelines for this. It's not a clean setup for me. So yeah, I don't like it. GJ. Let's go out to the daily. Zoom out. Again, last week, crazy move down. Rejection, push back up. I have to go back to kind of see what happened price action wise before. This is a strong level right here, as you see on a daily chart. it bounces from or around this area pretty often. So right now it looks like we're bouncing. We came up to retest this area, and we're right below it. Let me see what's going on the weekly chart. Strong momentum to the downside on the weekly. So I think the GBP is still pretty weak compared to other currencies. So I would guess we're going to still push down. So we may bounce from this area right here. So I will hold off. This is a trade I placed last week. Downtrend. We bounced off that level. Winner. I think I took 2 to 2. Nice targets. My first target was right here. My second one was down here. Yeah, so I'm on the sidelines for GBP JPY. Again, I'll be keeping an eye on these pairs still. The good thing about the strategy I employ, I use a higher time frame, so 4 hour and daily. So I don't have to check my charts extremely often. It's more so swing trading. I check more often just to find more trades for you guys, so I can send out trade alerts and trade setups. But for the most part, I don't have to stand by my computer or anything, because these setups take 4 hours or so at a time to set up. All right, a few more pairs to go through. GBP and ZD. This is a trade that I'm in right now, so I'll show you what I was looking at. This first one I lost. Went against me, so let's go out to the daily time frame, see what I was looking at. So here on the daily time frame, price was in a downtrend, down, high, lower highs and lower lows. We broke back up, came up to higher highs, and I was looking for a counter trend opportunity, especially after seeing some of this rejection right here. So I was expecting the price to come down and at least touch down here somewhere, but it actually pushed up pretty strong. We closed above the 50-day moving average, and that moving average pushed price up, and then we eventually came back down. So what I was looking at also, as you see in this region right here, the green dots, the green line is moving below the red dots. Okay, so that's kind of showing me momentum is shifting. So this is on a daily chart. So let me go down to the 4 hour, what I was looking at. So as you can see, on a daily, we also, not only did we break and close right on the 50-day moving average, we broke this trend line with a strong bearish candle. Okay, so that gave me a more of a bearish bias, saying, okay, we might be turning around for a whole day. There was a lot of selling pressure. So a couple things that I was looking at. We broke this trend line. We broke below this strong daily level right here and closed below it. We're right at the 50-day moving average. And then when I drop down to the 4 hour, you can see that trend line better. So we broke the trend line, came up, retested the trend line, came down. I placed a trade right here. We've been moving sideways. I'm going to stay in this trade. We've been moving sideways. Something else that's forming on this 4 hour chart is a head and shoulders pattern. So let me show you what this pattern looks like. So we have a shoulder right here. We have a head right here. And we have another shoulder right here. That is a reversal pattern. So there's a great chance that we should continue down. And that's what I'm expecting price to do, is to continue down. You see it's rejecting. It's trying to come up, but it's a lot of selling pressure right here. So I'm hoping that we go ahead, and my analysis says we're going to turn around. So this is a trade that I'm currently in right now, banking that we're going to head down. And this is the same one I showed before. It was a losing trade. I like leaving the losers up a lot more often than I leave my winners up, just so I can see what I did wrong. So you might see more losers, but there are definitely more winners than losers. I just like keeping the losers up so I can really hone in on what I did wrong or what I could have done different. Winners, I mean, it's good. I won. I was on the right direction. I kind of, my analysis worked out, but my losers are what really showed me, what was wrong. So current trade that I'm in, head and shoulders pattern. So I'm looking for it to continue down. We go out to the daily again. That very bearish daily candle. These wick rejections right here. These doji candles. Great reversal signs. So I'm just looking for this to turn over eventually. Hopefully. Momentum is shifting to the downside. So that's what I'm looking at here. And that's why I placed this trade. You see my stop is fairly high. My stop is up here. Pretty far away. Small position. Big on position size. I mean, the stop is pretty big. So my position size is small, so I'm not risking a lot of money. But it's above these daily candles. It's also above this strong level right here. So if price can move against me and come up, but eventually I wanted to push down. Okay. GBP USD. Starting off on the daily, looks like we have a double bottom here. Price bounced, came up. We're approaching this area. We're approaching a 50-day moving average. If I see this daily close above this 50-day, this might be a good trade, at least up to this next zone right here. I like my strategy is considered zone swing trading. I'm just swinging from zone to zone. So this looks like it can possibly be a long trade opportunity. Before I go shorter, let me go to the weekly. Yeah, weekly we look like we could be shifting. We also could be turning around, but this wick kind of gives me the thought that we may be pushing up. Even though on the weekly we are in a downtrend. Lower lows. So here we go, down. Lower low, lower high, lower low. This could be a lower high, but I see this coming up a little higher. And this is what it looks like from the daily. So I'm going to wait and see some price action. Drop down to the 4 hour. What's going on in the 4 hour? We are right above that zone. So we broke above it, rejecting this area right here. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one. No trade set up yet, but I'm going to watch it. If we get a push up here, I may place this trade to go long to this next zone up here. If I get anywhere right here, place a trade. Stop loss down here, 48 or so pips. Aiming for this next zone. First target about 48. Second target will be 80 pips. But again, waiting for it to show me a setup. If I look left, there is a lot of noise right here. But if I were to trade, at least I can get up here, I would think. And that was about the 50 pip level. So keep an eye on GBP USD, NZD JPY. Go back out to the daily chart. We're in a downtrend. No trade set up here. I don't see anything. We're right in the middle. We gapped up and pushing down. So nothing there. NZD USD. As I mentioned before, we came up. We're coming up right here. We gapped up right to this 50-day moving average, and we're at a strong downtrend. This is a pair that the last few trades have been awesome, as you can see. So let me go to a smaller time frame. We closed above this level right here. Let me move this. We closed above this level, gapped up. Now we're pushing down after bouncing off of this moving average. So I don't know, I'm indifferent right now. So I may be more bearish than bullish. As you see, my back-to-back bearish trades that all worked out. Let me go to a 4 hour. So we got this double top right here. right at this line. We pushed down, came down, broke this strong level, came back up to retest it, pushed down, entered the trade right here. We pushed down further, consolidated, stuck around. We broke this level. I placed the trade right here. Price bounced around for, I would say, a couple days. Never broke this level again and took me out. It took me all the way down, pushed me to this zone where I took profits for another winning trade, and then it came back up against me and broke that level after I already closed out. So we have a strong downtrend, and this right here is from the weekly level. Weekly and daily. How you see the wicks just keep rejecting. So I think I would just sit on my hands for a little bit. I don't know exactly where this is going. It could be reversing, especially if we go back and look at this weekly. Like I mentioned, last week was pretty dramatic, these drops. So I was kind of hesitant to do any more trades. So we got this wick, and this candle ended up finishing and closing pretty strong, bullish. So it's a possibility we could head up, especially if we look at the weekly structure. And I'll delete this, but this area right here, was previously right in this area for weak support. Came down, broke it, acted as resistance. Came down, came up, touched it again, pushed it down as resistance, and we came up and broke that level. Okay, so we broke this level on a weekly chart. What does that mean? That was a strong weekly level that we just broke. So now it's a possibility that that level may act as support. Old resistance, new support. So as you can see, we're actually bouncing from that level. So let me delete that off and go from the weekly back to the daily. So on the weekly time frame, we look like we can possibly be bullish. Daily time frame, we broke above this level, we gapped up, come back to retest. It looks like we possibly can be bullish and break this trend line. So we can break this trend line right here. So I would sit back, hold on, because also it's possible that we push down pretty hard. But the reason why I think we won't and will push up more than likely is the momentum is changing on a daily. A lot of times you see momentum change before price, and we may be pushing up. So I'll sit on my hands until I see something that looks attractive or a good setup on a lower time frame. On a lower time frame, we broke above this area consolidation, came back to retest that area, so it's possible we could be pushing up on a 4-hour, strong momentum, pushing up on a 4-hour. So this may move sideways for a little bit before breaking out. So again, I may just hold off. I got 3 good trades out of it, so I may just hold off for a little longer. USD CAD, oh man, this was one of my favorite trades right here, and we're still going down. So price came up here, broke down below this higher time frame resistance line, trend line, came back up, came back down. I placed the trade right here, stop above this area, moved around, consolidated for a little bit before pushing down heavy, and I stayed in this trade until about right here. I should have stayed in it longer because we are still pushing down pretty strong. So this is one of my favorite trades of last week, and we're still going down pretty strong. So let me go to the higher time frame, show you something else I was looking at. What I saw here on a daily time frame, all of these indecision candles forming, that just showed me that we were highly likely to turn around. Okay, plus before that, you see the green lines are under the red dots, showed me that momentum was shifting, and momentum was down, and next you know, it just fell from space. We just came down, we just closed below the 50-day moving average, and we're right at a strong level of was resistance, now support. So you know what, I may get back in this trade. and write it down. Let me see what's going on the 4-hour. Yeah, it's through a lot of momentum to the downside on this pair right here. So the US dollar is getting a lot weaker. So if we go back to this daily, strong. This candle closed with no wick, meaning it's a lot of pressure. We're under that 50-day moving average. Momentum is strong to the downside. Let me go to the weekly chart and look at this candle. It would take a lot of power for something to turn this price around right now. Not to say it can't happen, because we are in a pretty strong weekly area, but I think with this amount of momentum, how this closed, we're going to push down more. So I am definitely bearish on USD CAD. USD CHF, no trade. We're right in the middle. It's a lot of messiness over here. I'll just skip over that. USD JPY. We're right in the middle. Let me draw some of my... I just love these because they just make my chart look so much cleaner. And usually when I do them, I drop down to the 4-hour and show it. It's a lot cleaner. You can see how it bounces around a little bit, and I catch as much price action as possible. But USD JPY, that candle last week was insane. So I just now there's a lot of people on their hands, kind of scared to place trades now. So I'll probably just hold off on this. So keep an eye on it. Gold, what are we doing? Strong bearish candle, engulfing candle at that. Let's go to the weekly, see what's going on. It's in a strong uptrend, so we may push past this level, so we might just be pulling back a little bit. 4-hour, yep, and we're still above this 50-period moving average. We still have a pretty strong, and if we go right here, it's a break. If we go right here, it's not. It was a lot of rejection right there, so I don't think I would go short yet. I don't think I would go short yet. Yeah, so I don't think I would go short. It may move around a little bit. Once it breaks this, then there's a chance to go short. But right now, I think we can still push up some more, especially looking at the weekly chart. We're above the 50-week moving average. And pretty strong candle right here with a lot of momentum up. So it's a good chance we can continue up here. So no trade there right now. Just keep an eye on it. GBP CHF, we're right at the zone. Let's go on the daily chart, see what's going on. A lot of consolidation been going on, so there's nothing clean here. And don't think I'll place a trade. And US 30, let's see what's going on with US 30. So it's respecting my lines. We just bounced above this strong level right here. Bullish engulfing candle. Close above this line. Momentum is going up. I think we are maybe moving up. We broke above this and closed above this level slightly. So I have more of a bullish bias than bearish. So yeah. So that's my analysis for this upcoming week. I have a few pairs I have flagged. So those are ones I'll keep an eye on. Euro AUD, Euro GBP, GBP USD, USD CAD for continuation to the downside, and USD JPY. And those are the main ones. Now I'll keep up with other pairs throughout the week, but these are ones I'll watch closely over these next couple of days. And if trades set up, I'll place the trades. And yeah, so pretty much that is the analysis for this upcoming week. Hope you enjoy it. Take care.